Hey, what's up, guys? It's Martin, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys my review of Civic. I spent a lot of time researching this, so hopefully I can do my best to explain it to you guys. I'm going to be doing a PowerPoint today instead of a video format, so hopefully my information will be a little bit more organized. And yeah, let's get right into it. So Civic is an app that is aiming to revolutionize the way that we handle our identity online. So they're kind of like a verification platform where you can store all your information right on the blockchain. So that's name, email, social security. You can even do wallet private keys, and it'll be all encrypted right on your Civic app, which is available on iTunes and Android right now. So they already have an app out. You can put all your information right in the app, and like I said, it's encrypted through your fingerprint, so only you have access to it, and the information you put on there is not stored anywhere else. It's strictly on your mobile device. So Civic, if they were to get hacked or anything like that, the hacker would not have any information, any public records that you put on there. The way it works is that currently Civic is an ERC20 token, so it's on the Ethereum blockchain, and it's going to be moved over to the rootstock blockchain, which is it's a new protocol where you essentially, it's built on the Bitcoin blockchain, but it adds identity requesters and validators. It's kind of the difference. What makes a protocol special is, for example, Monero and Zcash. Those are two cryptocurrencies that are completely anonymous. You can't go track your transactions. So that's the special protocol behind those two, is anonymous transactions. So the way that Civic is set up, the protocol is special so that handling your identity is very efficient and allows for the whole Civic ecosystem to work, where you're getting paid to handle your and pass on your identity. So to get into some use cases, I want to talk about banking, because currently banks are required to go through a process called Know Your Customer. So that means that banks, they're required to know who they're doing business with. They have to go through background checks and all that stuff. So that's actually a very expensive and time-consuming process for banks. They're always trying to find new ways to speed up this process, to make it less costly, and Civic does exactly that, because when you are passing your identity on to services such as background checks, getting a new job in banks and stuff like that, you're validating yourself, and you'll have a history of validators that you've gone through. So they can't pick that up right away, because you're not going to have a lot of people using Civic at first. Banks won't have a huge history of validators at first, but I feel like once Civic starts to pick up, that's when that banking Know Your Customer process is really going to catch on, and that's when it's going to see the most efficiency of it. And so that's kind of interesting that Civic has that sort of network effect. It becomes more and more useful the more people that use it, and it's also really useful from a user standpoint, because you are securing your identity. You always have control over it, and it has like built-in two-factor authentication, so only your fingerprint can unlock your identity. And this will allow for private signups to websites, apps. No username, password required. It'll go straight through your identity, and it'll basically autofill that information from there. So since that information is already put on Civic, it'll come straight from there, and it'll be pretty efficient. You won't have to go through username, password, all of this stuff again. And that website won't have much access to your information. It'll be straight through Civic. So if you look at the pictures I put on this slide, you can see Token Market is a partner of Civic. They're already using Civic to sign in as a sign up method. So you can use your Civic app right there. And I think that's kind of like a standard. We might see Civic start to really pick up momentum, start websites start using it. And also, I want to give a shout out to Coin Mastery. I found this out the other day through watching his videos. Really great channel, but the point is that zero. I found this in his video that 0x project, that ICO is actually using Civic to verify the participants of its ICO. So I thought that was a really interesting use case for it as well. So there's really like a lot of things you can do with Civic, a lot of ways that verifying your identity is important online, and Civic's really the ideal way to do it. So just to give you guys my vision of kind of what I think Civic could do is, say you go download Civic, you put all your information on the blockchain, you get paid to send that information, to share that information with a requester. So say you go open up a bank account, you'll get paid to share your information with that bank, and that bank is then the requester. So to explain the validators and requesters part, that bank is a requester. They then have your information. You open up the bank account successfully. Then they're a validator. They have your information. They can prove that you've gone through their service. And then say you go apply for a job and you need a background check. That new requester, that company that's hiring you, can go look up your identity on Civic, see that you've done they can request your information and see that from like the validator at this point is the bank. They can pass that information on, and they're getting paid, since it costs a little bit of money to request. They're getting paid from that request since they've already used you. They're validating your identity, and you really build up trust this way through Civic. So the network effect is there, and it's kind of like a time effect, I guess, if you will. The longer you use it, the more trust you build up, and there's a longer history of places that have validated you. So now to get into the team and advisors. The CEO is Vinny Lingham. He's very well known in the community. He's written many articles, such as on Medium.com. He does a lot of Bitcoin analysis predictions, and he writes about Civic a lot too. He had a Civic, like a community for Civic, even before the ICO. So that's really worth mentioning, that he built up a lot of support from people interested in the project, even before the ICO came out, by engaging and advertising it. He wrote about it a lot, a few different articles, and he's very active on Twitter as well as the Telegram group. He built his own Telegram group where he responds to people, and they provide a lot of updates through there. So he's also very experienced when it comes to startups and stuff like that. He was the founder of gift.com. So he knows a lot about e-commerce. He knows a lot about blockchain, and I think it's like the perfect storm. He really he has a vision for Civic where he wants to create a universal solution to customer identity fraud, and that's exactly what Civic is doing. They're protecting customers, all the information you put on websites and stuff like that. Civic is perfect for that. They will provide a lot of security to your identity. And it's really cool too, because when he did launch the ICO for Civic, he made it so you had to already have downloaded the Civic app. So that the Civic app was already out on the App Store before the ICO. So look at all these different projects that are coming out that don't even have that don't even have a product. You're just buying tokens, and there's nothing to actually prove for it. Civic's different in the way that they already had their app out. You can already go test it out. Really, really cool. I definitely recommend that you do. And that's awesome because, it just shows how strongly they believe in Civic. So Civic is also partnered with Rootstock, who invented their protocol, Jack's wallet, as well as Block. So if you look at their board of technical advisors, some really, really solid names and experience there when it comes to developing the blockchain. yeah, these guys are a really solid team, and I think that if anyone's gonna make a platform like Civic work, these guys are definitely set up to do it. Um, so currently, we're just waiting on. Uh, Here, I'll go into the community a little bit. Actually, so like I said, Vinny Lingham, he built his own community behind Civic, so they already have a really solid base, and there's a lot of people joining every day, learning about it, and I definitely recommend that you guys read into it. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. Follow him on Twitter and stuff like that. So currently, for the roadmap, we're looking at the main thing is we're waiting for the rootstock protocol to come out. So that's the new blockchain that they're going to move over to, which is expected in Q1 of 2018. And that's where the new protocol comes into play. So right now, the validators and requesters blockchain that I mentioned, that's currently not in place because Civic is currently just an ERC20 token. They can't really build on that as easily, I guess. So they're coming out with their whole new blockchain, and that's where the whole Civic ecosystem is really gonna take place, and that's when Civic's use cases are gonna really start to take off. That's when the full platform comes out, and they have announced that the full roadmap will be coming out soon. So they'll be having a lot of updates by the end of 2017. They'll definitely be keeping us updated on all their progress. And you can already see it implemented in a few places. Like I said, Bank to the Future and Token Market are two partners of theirs where they have implemented Civic for signups. So to get into the tokens is actually crazy because Civic just got posted on a Chinese exchange this morning at the time of making this video. So that 19 cents is actually about 37 right now, and it's holding steady right around there. So I thought that was kind of funny. I should have got in earlier on that. But yeah, so they currently have 1 billion tokens, or not currently, I guess. There's a total supply of 1 billion. 33% goes to Civic, 33% is sold in the ICO, and the rest of the tokens are going to be implemented when the new blockchain is out. They're going to be started giving out for those requesters and validators and all that. And yeah, I mean, 1 billion tokens is a lot, but when you consider the scale of what Civic is trying to do, I really think that's not out of the ballpark at all. That's very reasonable, and I think it's smart that they did that. So you'll have, I guess, like a lot of liquidity as well as, they'll have to, it's very efficient to keep that many tokens for the scale of what they're trying to do. So yeah, just to get into it overall, I think Civic will be a home run. This project really has a ton of potential. If you go down the list of things that you should be looking for in a company in cryptocurrency, Civic is exactly what you should be looking for across the board. It's a unique project that blows all of its competition really just out of the water. They have their first mover advantage, so any competition, Civic is definitely the brand name here, and it has a very strong real use case, and that's really important when it comes to cryptocurrencies. And they're not they've already made a lot of progress. They already have the app out, and Q1 2018 I think is when you'll start to see Civic really start to take off, and that's for mainstream adoption as well. And I don't doubt for a second that this team is going to be able to pull this off. I think that they are definitely poised. Like, they're really set up to make this thing as big as it can get. One thing I wanted to mention is they haven't mentioned much about marketing, but I mean, like I said, they're going to be the brand name. All they need to do is just advertise it for mainstream adoption. They'll be able, and they have that too. There's a huge market. Like, think about it. For Civic to be handling your digital identity online, that protects against identity theft, fraud, and stuff like that. So tons and tons of use cases for everyday people to get on Civic. And I think it's going to be an awesome platform. I think that they have a very clear vision of what they want to do. Their partnerships are awesome. great community, and they're gonna just run with it. So I hope that this was all informative for you guys. I put a ton of time researching into this, so I'd really appreciate if you went and hit the like button, subscribed if you're interested in more of these videos, and let me know your thoughts down in the description. I'd love to talk about this, any thoughts you have on this. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and have a great rest of your day.